Presentation is brought to you by kmmedia.pro. Please visit kmmedia.pro for more information. Now stay right where you are as we present Welcome to Positive Talk Radio, evolving ideas one conversation at a time. Great guests, dynamic stories and interviews, plus new thoughts on a wide range of topics and concepts. I hope that you'll hang with me, Kevin McDonald, my friends, and of course, you. As together we work to understand why we are all here and what we can do to make our world a better place for all of us. To be happy, be kind, and live in peace together. Yep, that's Positive Talk Radio. Positive Talk Radio. We've got a great guest for you today. She's been on the show before, and if you want to go review some of her work, you can go to positivetalkradio.net. Her name is Bracha Goetz, and whatever Bracha wants, Bracha gets.
Thank you. Oh my, that was a terrific, what do you call it, that video that you just showed. That was great.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it. We've got some really big doings happening around here at Positive Talk, and I got to tell you, that's one of them. And one of the other things that we do is we are now creating shorts for people and for businesses, and putting them on Instagram and that kind of thing. So that's something that you and I get to talk about a little later. Is that whether or not that would be something that you would like us to do for you?
Terrific.
And it's really is a lot of fun. As a matter of fact, we have one that we just did a week or 2 weeks ago, and it's had 23,000 views.
Beautiful.
So things are good here. How are things with in the Goetz world?
Wonderful. You is this a video and on audio or?
Yes, ma'am. You are currently on 3 Facebook channels, 4 YouTube channels, and Twitter.
Wow, that's wonderful.
So don't be nervous.
No, right. You're doing great. That's fantastic.
Yeah, things are looking up in our world, and know that they're looking up in your world too, because you have got like 42 books out now, and they're all most of them are children's books.
Well, I'm going to say I have 41 and a half books out. 41 and a half, yeah. Like one is almost being born, and there's like we're really, it's so exciting when you're in the process, of creating. It's like just one of the greatest joys there is. Like what you're doing when you're just creating wonderful, positive things in the world. It's one of the biggest joys there is.
It really is, and I like to have you on. You've been on before, and if you want to go to positivetalkradio.net and just search under the Goetz, which is Goetz, and her previous episodes will come up. They're all very entertaining, which is why I like having you on, because you are an author and you are a children's author, and you work to enlighten kids about their spirituality, about life in general. You do health. You do all kinds of things in language that a child can understand.
You got it! Exactly right. Totally on the mark. Yes.
And you do that, why?
Oh, it helps my soul to shine when I help other souls to shine, right? Is that that's what happens? Yep, it's just the greatest feeling. I was explaining about the pleasure ladder when I was on here last, and that's it. The lowest level are all the physical pleasures that we enjoy with our senses. And next up is love. Love is focusing on the virtues of another. Totally, we could do any of these things. I just realized 5 levels to the pleasure ladder. I realized this 2 weeks ago. 5 levels correspond to, it's within our own hands, the 5 fingers on our hands. We can bring this pleasure into our life at any moment through mindful gratitude. We grasp it. It's not dependent on anybody else. Love, it's not about waiting for somebody to come into your life. It's about us focusing on the virtues of somebody. What do we appreciate about people? You know, there was somebody who was writing in, how do I get over my ex? Like, I still love them. So I sent back the answer is that you focus on the virtues of other people. You don't have to stop loving that person. Just start focusing on the virtues of many other people, and you'll bring so much more love into your life. We just have to open our eyes, and we'll see good things about all kinds of people. Yeah. Oh,
And
so yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead,
oh, I
please.
was just going to ask you, did she take your advice? Did she send another email back to you?
I don't know. No, it was on these things where they were asking for advice and they published the answers. So they published my answer as one of the answers to this person's
Gotcha.
problem. Yeah. So that's how it went. And I don't know, but I was happy they accepted my answer, you know. and and then so we have the sensual, all the senses, all those pleasures, or then love, and then meaning, doing something meaningful, and then creativity, almost at the top. It's such a high to be creative. And the highest one of all, we transcend all the limitations. We break a habit, we start a new habit. We sense how we're all connected to each other. We break down barriers. We lift the veils of separation. It's just, that's the highest. And I think, I don't know if I told you, but in psychology today recently, they said that the sense of awe and wonder that comes with that feeling of transcendence, it creates the most, like, phytochemicals in our bodies. It creates the chemicals that fight off infections. It's what keeps us healthiest, being joyful. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And the reality, I believe that we are here to help each other,
Yes.
and to be supportive, and to care, and to be kind. And
Yes.
in our world today, there's just not enough of any of that going around, and that's why it's important for me to talk to you, because you are one of those people that
Yes. And yeah, that's why it's important what you're doing, because it's so needed. It's just so needed in the world. Mm, I don't know if more than ever, but maybe. And so it's great to feel needed, right? Yeah, to
yeah,
spread joy. That's it.
it really is. So when you wrote your first book, was it kind of a lark for you? Did you think, I'm destined to write 42 books and this is just number one? Or was it a process for you?
Yeah. I was sitting outside in Israel, and my little children were playing on the playground. So I took my notebook. Whenever I get ideas, I jot them down on a paper towel, a napkin, any place. Just, I got to get it out right then. But then when I have time, I sit outside and I write, or wherever. So I sat there, and you got to know, there was no computer. I stuck it on the loose leaf paper in an envelope, mailed it to America, and 6 weeks later, I got a response that the book was accepted, you know? So then I said, oh my gosh, this is how you write books. This is how you write a children's book. So then I kept going. Yeah.
Wow. So did you recognize at the time that that's very rare, that you could send your first manuscript and you send it out the first time and it's accepted?
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that till later on. I didn't know how rare it was, but as a child, I loved to write. Um, I was writing poems. I My first poem that was read, like, in public, was, like, maybe I was in 3rd or 4th grade, and they read it to all the parents at an assembly where it must have been like a parent teachers meeting, and it was about how books can take you anywhere, how you can just travel anywhere with a book. So I consider that kind of foreshadowing that that's what I was going to be, writing books, because I still feel that way. And my favorite books are still picture books. I love picture books. You know, it seems funny for a Harvard grad to say that, right? That's my favorite level of writing is picture books. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
now, when you do your writing, do you also do the illustrations in your books?
I'm not I don't think I'm good enough. I do love to draw, and I love to draw like creatures, kind of like Dr. Seuss, like interesting creatures. I've never written a book that I felt I could illustrate. So the publishers usually pick the illustrators. Sometimes I get to pick the illustrators, and I've never illustrated my own book yet.
But
Yeah.
you get to final approval over
Yes.
what is in your books, right?
And I love it. It's real back and forth. Like, through email, we just keep sending and we revise it. And that's an awesome creative process when you watch the book come alive like that through the illustrations. Yeah.
Now, when you write, do you think that when you're writing that, see, I'm a firm believer in intuition and inspiration and those things that when you're writing, do you feel like you get an inspiration and then you have to write it down?
Yeah. Got to do it right then. It's so amazing. Um, I feel like we're just channels. We're channels for this amazing ideas, amazing energy that comes, and it usually comes in the mornings. Um, so I keep a pad next to my bed with a pen, and I'm scribbling in the dark, and I hope I see it in the morning. What I can hope I could read what I wrote. But I just try to get it. Usually, I wake up. It's like before dawn, and I wake up, and these ideas are there. So I just have to get them out. Yeah.
And you need to do it right now because you'll forget them if you don't, right?
Yeah, that's why I have to scribble it exactly right when it comes, because I'm not going to remember it otherwise. Yes, so like the titles, everything. When this book, when somebody asked me to write "Let's Stay Healthy," my newest book that was out, they asked me to do this and I'm like, yes, but how do I do it? I don't have exactly how to do it. So like a few days later, I wake up and there it is, the title, exactly how to write it, the whole thing. So I called the person up that begged me to write this book and I go, guess what? I can do it now. I got the whole thing. Yeah.
Where does that come from for you?
Well, it comes from the source of all. The source of energy, the source of all ideas, infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom. Yeah.
Why you, do you think?
I don't know, it comes to everybody, but definitely when you are happy, it's easier for things to flow. I believe that. I believe that, sometimes we write about things that are difficult or painful, and that also comes through. But when you're in a state of flow, it's much easier for the ideas to come through. Yeah.
What are the things that you practice to be in the state of flow?
Well, okay. The things that I'm very into, which I write about in Let's Stay Healthy, is definitely eating natural foods because it has the vitality of the earth in it. That's what we need. It has all the nutrients we need, all the good stuff, as opposed to the junk food, which has all of that taken out. So that helps you to be happier. And exercise, moving, dance, yoga, whatever, gardening, whatever you enjoy doing to move, and music, all those all those lowest level pleasures, the pleasures that nourish our bodies, they also nourish our souls, and they have the potential to fill us with gratitude. So all those things, even on the lowest level, it brightens our life, and they're available to everybody. If you're watching this now, you're breathing, so you have the opportunity to focus on how awesome our breath is, how it's giving life to all the vegetation in the world, and the vegetation is giving us life. It's like amazing stuff is happening every moment. Yeah.
Where did you come up with that? I mean, you are an. It's one of the reasons why I love to have you on the show because you're an incredibly positive person. And are you always that way, or are there mornings that you get up and you go, "I'm going to be grumpy today"?
There are rare times when I'm not so happy, and there've been dark periods in my life when it was really hard. But in general, I'm grateful that I inherited the gift of happiness from my father. He was the happiest person I knew, and I would say his secret to happiness is the he had low expectations in life. He was happy with whatever he got. I remember at the end of his life, I'd give him a baked potato and he was so excited about the baked potato, you know? He was like, even still, I mean, he had Alzheimer's at the end, but he was bedridden, he'd had a stroke, but he could still, sing. Alzheimer's patients love to sing. He was still singing about "You Are My Sunshine." He'd still sing that to me, and he was happy until he left this world. Even the moment he left, oh my gosh, we were all surrounding him, and my children were all around him. It was the Sabbath too, so it was really a very spiritual experience. And who is the Steve Jobs, the head
Steve
of?
Jobs from Apple.
Yes. My father had the exact same reaction when he passed from this world. I heard that Steve Jobs, his last words when he my father was like this. He was like, his eyes were closed. He was taking his last breath, and suddenly his eyes got wide, just like with Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs apparently said the same thing. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Those were his last words. My father's eyes flew open. He was like, and then he was gone. Like I don't know what he saw in those last moments, like the white tunnel that people, the white light from the tunnel that people describe, or seeing all your loved ones. I don't know. It's something amazing that goes on. I know this is not all there is, but it was awesome to really accompany him up until the end like that.
Now,
Yeah.
because of that, and because of how he left this world, that gave you a moment of hope that he wasn't really gone. His body, it's like. Do you remember your first car?
Yes.
What was it? What was your first car?
it was a it was a station wagon.
I could just imagine you driving the station wagon. It's just barely with your head over the steering wheel,
Mhm.
and do you remember the make and model of it?
No.
And
No.
the thing is, do you remember the day that you either sold that car or it stopped running or whatever it was,
Yes.
and you got out of your car and you went and you got another car, and because that's what you needed to do. I think that we operate the same way. Our bodies get old, they get
Yes.
frail,
Yeah.
our minds go, and we go, but our bodies stop functioning, but we are still continuing on.
Exactly. Exactly. When you unplug the refrigerator is dead. But that energy, the energy's still there. It's still it's still traveling. This energy that we have, this spiritual energy goes on and on. We have it just This is not it. We're in these This is our clothing. Exactly. And we take this off and we step into new clothing, a new car, a new way to transport ourselves around
You know,
planet
and
Earth right now.
and the refrigerator is actually a really good analogy. You know why?
Nope.
When the refrigerator stops working and it stops working for a while and it warms up, and you open the refrigerator, it begins to smell very
Yes.
much like our bodies do after we're done with
Yes.
them.
That is so true. That's right. And then we just turn into back to dust. We turn back to dust. So we're just here for a limited amount of time in this world to lift up the sparks of everything. Lift up, find all the sparks. There's spirituality hidden everywhere. Yeah.
Now, I wanted to talk to you about something because something happened to me recently, and I want to get your opinion on it as a writer and also a very spiritual person, which I know you to be.
Yeah.
And so I had a and I know this happens to you as well, but it was kind of like it was kind of like a download, but it was building. It was built one thing built on another and built on another, and then it became like a whole thing. Does that work for you?
I'm not sure what you're saying. Wait.
Okay, let me explain. I had what I was feeling like I was having what was called what you would call a download, and it was something that I had never really considered. But this word popped into my head, and it was. Did you ever see the movie with John Wayne called True Grit?
Wait, what is a download?
For me, a download is like a message from the creator. You get them all the time in the middle of the
Oh,
night.
a download. Got it. Got it. Got it.
And so when you get one of those and you get a thought that did not come from you, it did not originate
Right.
from your brain, but it
No.
came through you, which is how
Yes.
your books come.
Yes.
And so it came through me, and so I had to get up and I had to start writing it, and so it ended up being something that I call authentic grit. Does that authentic grit? Does that make any sense to you at all?
You mean like a takeoff on True Grit, you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
Basically, and so in the process of what true authentic grit is, I used grit and made an analogy or a acronym for it, so that each letter stood for something. And I want to read this to you, and you tell me what you think. um,
Terrific.
Authentic grit is G stands for gratitude, always developing personally, professionally, and spiritually. R stands for resilient, never quitting, strength of character, positive, passionate, humble, indomitable spirit,
Wow.
hardiness, excellence of purpose, powerful, kind, and honest, and tough, mentally determined, hardworking, courageous, and creative. I think that as I pursue my life, that's what I'm looking to develop in myself is true, authentic grit. Does that
Awesome.
make sense?
Awesome. Awesome. I it, this is your pleasure ladder. Everything is in there. Everything. It's so fantastic because people say that's what you need, grit for success in life. And you have within there everything that brings true pleasure in life. So, I mean, what there's a line, Wayne Dyer, um, success is an inside job.
Yeah,
Th-
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
that's what that is, what you just said, this authentic grit. I love how you took it apart. And I love, of course, that it begins with gratitude. Yes.
Everything begins with gratitude. Uh,
Yes.
because the fact of the matter is, and I don't care who you are. If I could just get on my soapbox here for a second, but if you the minute you walk out of your house, I would like everybody to stop and take notice of the air, of the wind that's there, the smells, the
Beautiful.
colors, the
Beautiful.
the the understanding that rather than going through life and rushing about and doing this and doing that and becoming human doings, we need to be human beings, and
Yeah,
we need to be here to enjoy the life that we have, and good things will come to us if we do that rather than trying to do this and do that. And you never get, when you're a human doing, you never get time to do anything because you're always doing,
beautiful.
rather than being a human being, which is what we are designed to be, is to be happy,
Beautiful.
to be loving, to be kind, to and the gospel according to Paul McCartney, let it be.
Let it
Uh,
be. Oh, that's good. Sit, sit. Yeah, I love that. Savor the flavors, linger longer. These things help me to remember to really enjoy. what we already have. Yes, exactly.
I went to a gourmet restaurant with my former wife one time, and we both were into different flavors and things. And the chef had a creation that was really had a lot of different flavors and different combinations of flavors, and he really put a lot of thought into it. And so we sat there, we didn't talk much, we just enjoyed the moment of the company, of the food, of the flavors, of the unique and the ambiance around us. And that's what I believe that's what our creator in wants us to do in life is to enjoy the experience while we're here, even if the experiences are not always, sunshine and puppy dog
E-
tails.
Exactly. Did this We were put in this garden, and we put up walls in the garden, but this is really a garden. It's an incredible place. And I, 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 I heard a story the other day. I've never told it over. Let me give it a try. Let me see if I could do this. There was a farmer had a donkey that fell into a well, and he's like crying out, get me out of the well. And they're trying to get him out, but they can't. So they give up, and they saying, look, this well was dry for a long time. We should have filled it up before. So they just start putting dirt in it, and they can't get the donkey out. And then after a while, the donkey stops crying, and but then then after more time passes, they start to see that the donkey is coming up to the top of the well, and they go, what in the world? What happened is the donkey realizes that he could stand on this earth. He could make it into steps. So as they're putting down this dirt, he's ascending to the top of the well. And that's kind of what we go through in life. It didn't look good. It didn't look pretty for this donkey. But when people throw dirt in our direction, there's a lot of hurt that can happen and things, but it really all is for an ultimate good. We really can use it as stepping stones to ascend to a new place in life. And that's why it may not always be rosy at all. It didn't look good for that donkey. But really, the challenges that are sent to us in life are opportunities. We don't always make those opportunities. I mean, there are people that don't make it in life. But guess what? We get another opportunity. This is not all there is. But but anyway, this since there is not all there is, but while we're here, we can try to use the opportunities, even the painful ones, in order to grow.
I couldn't agree with you more. In fact, I'd even go so far as to say that we're here to experience life. If everything in your life was absolutely perfect all the time, you would never appreciate the good times when they come.
Right,
And so it is a process, and
right.
it's about the good moments, and but also learning from the difficult times
Yes,
and learning how to work through them and to deal with them and then to move and to then you appreciate the good times when they happen even more.
exactly. And I was given a good head start in life because my father was a very positive person. But let's say you're not given those genes. From what I've heard, so much of our happiness is, malleable, that we're able to increase our ability to be more grateful tremendously. And those that, you know, haven't been doing that since childhood, there's neuroplasticity of our brains, and we can actually, the more that we wire our brains to be grateful, the more we can become grateful people. We can definitely change into more grateful people in life.
I've been doing a lot of interviews lately with people that have studied the brain a little bit, and in some cases, a lot. And they talk in terms that I can't repeat here because I can't say the words. But what they say is that it is possible for us to rewire our brain into a much more positive person if you believe that you can accomplish that.
Right, right. And another thing I learned, I think I expressed this, that it takes 400 repetitions to form new synapses in the brain. But if we do it joyfully, in just 10 to 20 repetitions, we can get a new habit down. So the trick is doing it joyfully. That's why, children's books is what I love to do. In other words, create these synapses in young people in a joyful way. And also, it's why songs, we teach through songs so much, because when you add the joy element, you can take on the new habit so much more easily. So there's nothing to lose by being more joyful, and it's the best way actually to develop these new habits. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And have you always been this positive? And I think I asked you this before, but I'm just struck
Y-
that you're so. And are your kids? Have you been able to pass it down to your kids? I know that they're the ones who they've got a. By the way, you can sign up for the newsletter, and if you go to well, where I'll ask you, where do they need to go to sign up to get the newsletter?
Oh, yeah, it's the Goetzbookshop.com. Goetz bookshop.com. They've created this. They love just taking my messages further out into the world. They love doing this. So I'm very happy. Yes, they are all grateful people, and my grandchildren are also. Even I have one grandchild with severe disabilities, but she is such a grateful person. She can't feel anything from the waist down, and her mental capacity is limited, but she's a really, really happy girl. She's 7 now, and she's an amazing person. And like the other day I was eating with her, I was standing there, I was eating pizza, and she said to me, "Sit down. Why don't you sit down?" It was here. She's thinking about me. I mean, it's amazing. She's here stuck in the wheelchair thinking about other people. So I'm blown away. Yeah, it's we all have so much to be grateful for. She knows that she has so much to be grateful for. She's got a whole bunch of siblings that are almost always looking out for her. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
I will, and I don't often say this on the show, but I will for you today. And that is, I believe that one of the things, I believe that we get to choose our destiny when we come down here, and that we have the opportunity to create the circumstances by which things that we wish to learn and accept and to grow. And one of the hardest things that we are willing or able to do is to come here with a disability,
Yes.
because we recognize that we're going to be different, and it's going to be a harder row to hoe, as it were. And so anyone who has disabilities, I think that they are of the highest nature. And
Yeah.
I've known people that are they are in a wheelchair or whatever the case may be, yet they're happy, and
Yes.
they're happier than people that are wandering around doing this and doing that, and being and not relaxing and stuff. So it I think there's something to be said for that. And
Yes. In fact, one of my children's books, I'll hold it up. Let's appreciate everyone, is about disabilities. When when my granddaughter was born, people were saying to me, "I know you're going to write about disabilities now." And I said, "I'd love to, but I'm not an expert. I don't know how to write this book." So what happened? I saw an article in a magazine, and I called the person after I read the article. I said, her article was about the workshops that she's giving in schools to teach about disabilities. So I said to her, your workshops are fantastic, but it would be so great if your workshops could reach more and more people. How about if I put it into a picture book? She was thrilled. So I wrote up her workshops in this picture book. These are not my ideas, and it's mainly from her. And her name is Yael Zellinger. And I put, it's basically like she teaches when a child sees a child with a visible disability, they usually stare, which makes total sense. They're curious. And she says there's another 5-letter word that also begins with S, like stare, but it's smile. If you add your smile, it changes everything. You can still stare because you're curious. Add your smile, and you create a connection between you and the child, because children with disabilities are usually the loneliest children. They don't get invited to play dates or birthday parties as much as everybody else. And in the book, I give over the experiences of what does it feel like to be different, different exercises to do, and I give examples, just practical tips, because children don't know how to act. Like when you meet a child in a wheelchair, um, sit down next to them so you're on the same level. When when you meet a child who's blind, make sure you say your name, say when you're going away, basic things. And when you meet a child who's deaf, you can write them a note, you can draw them a picture, you can speak slowly for them to read your lips. And many children have disabilities, they're invisible. So they're sitting on the side, they're not joining in the games. So go over and invite them to join in. They may not want to, but it's still good for you and it's good for them if you ask them to join.
One of the gifts that you have is that when you talk, you can conjure up memories in somebody that this memory that I have is, let's see,
Mm.
it'd be about 50 years old, about 52 years old. I was in school and we had recess during school. Well, there was a young kid who had braces on his legs. And so he wasn't involved with us very much because he couldn't get out and he couldn't play basketball and that sort of thing because he couldn't move very well. And so one time we were playing army, and we picked two sides, and he was just standing there, and my side said to him, "Why don't you come and be our doctor? And you can heal people and be our doctor on our team." And then the other side picked a doctor for their side. And I turned around and this young man was hobbling away. And I went up to him and I said, "Where are you going?" And he said, "Well, you picked a doctor for." I said, "No, that was for the other guys. We want you for our team.
Oh,
And so you come with us." And you
oh,
and it was the light that came on. I'll never forget it.
oh gosh.
The light that came onto his face, that
Wow.
he had been rejected because of his legs his whole life, and to be included, even though it wasn't much, he just all he did is, "Okay, you're fixed." Okay, and because we were playing army and people were dying all over the place, and then he would fix them. And so,
Beautiful.
but it was one of those. It taught me, and maybe that's why where part of where my kindness came from is the empathy that I realized that for him was a big moment.
Well, what got you? Something got you to even say that to him. You already had something implanted in you too. I mean, I'm sure it helped you so much. It encouraged you to spread more kindness in the world. But that you felt this empathy to him to begin with, and you drew him in. Something happened to you, I feel, that gave you that light.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
I believe, well, when I was growing up, my faced bullying and all that kind of stuff. Even though I was, you know, I had all my limbs that worked and everything, but there were still bullies and
Yes.
up to and including my brother hanging me by the neck when I was 10 and
Yes.
stuff like that. That's a whole other story. But
Yes.
but go ahead.
Things increase your sensitivity when things happen to us that make us feel different. We have more compassion for other people. That's one of those things where dirt gets thrown at us and we use it as a step up to ascend in life, because the light inside of us is really infinite. It's infinite. We're all infinitely beautiful and infinitely joyful, really, within us. It just has to come out. We've built layers of protection so that the light may not be shining if we've been hurt. But, with intervention, we can get help to remove all those layers of protection, those coping mechanisms, so we can go back to our natural state of light, of, of shining joy.
And you and I are very similar in that I love the book that you worked with the author of the article to collaborate
Yes,
with.
let's appreciate everyone. Yeah,
Let's appreciate everyone because
yeah,
you gave her your platform. You
right.
didn't have to. But you gave her your platform, and you're an author of note, written over 40 books, and so you were able to help her get her message out to a much broader audience than she would otherwise have had. And that is part of your gift, and that's what you're giving back to people. That's really cool.
So that's what you're doing. I love it. Giving, this is what we need in the world more than ever. Platform for positivity. And and one of the things that you mentioned that you did with that boy to be the doctor is focusing. It talks about focusing on the strengths. Everybody has strengths. Don't focus on the problems. For like 20 years, I was directing a Big Brother Big Sister program, and that's what we would tell the volunteers. Don't focus on the child's problem. Focus on their strengths. You are here not to be their therapist. You're here to build up their strengths. That's the job of being a mentor.
And that, by the way, thank you for circling right back into that, because that is what teaching authentic grit is about. Is building on the positive, building on what you can do, that you're not going to settle for
Yes.
anything less than the positive outcome of what you're looking for. So, every time I talk to somebody, I am so more enthusiastic about that that little thing, because I think people can understand it if they listen to it. What do you
It,
think?
I think it's great. I think you could do a course on that. It's a fantastic idea.
Well, thank you. I'm going to. I'm going to, because it is, and it's something I really believe in. And you know where I got it from? A
Nope.
football coach.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Football coaches can do amazing things for people's lives. Yes.
I was watching a interview. Now, this I'm talking about, for those of you that don't live in the Seattle area, you may not know him, but his name is Pete Carroll. He's the coach of the Seattle Seahawks, and he's got a very unique method of working with people. And there was a young woman who, now, first of all, as you probably may or may not know, young women do not coach men's football much, and because these are big, overgrown, these guys are just amazingly big and stuff. But this little petite girl she was a running back in on a girls team in Canada, because they have such things there, a tackle football girls team in Canada, and she wanted to get into coaching, and so the NFL had a program that she qualified for, and she came to work for the Seahawks. And the first thing that happened was she walked up to Pete Carroll walked up to her, and she said, "What do you want me to do?" And he said to her, "I want you to be the absolute best at what you can do and be the best that you can be. Now, my job is to help you clear out all the rubble, clear out all the crap, so that you can be the absolute best that you can be. And as long as you're willing to commit to that authentic grit be the best that you can be, then you will achieve whatever it is in life that you want.
Wonderful. That's
And
great.
she was like, I was so eternally grateful because this guy, he's been national champion. He's got, everybody knows his name, and he took the time to say, I want to support you to become excellent at whatever it is that you choose to do.
Wow.
And
Wow.
so that will inspire her and change her life forever,
Right.
because now she knows that she is capable of doing anything she chooses to do.
Wonderful. And if if anybody doesn't have a coach like that, we have to become our own coaches that way. Exactly. It's not easy. If a person hasn't gotten that in their childhood, that kind of encouragement, it's not easy, but it is possible because there's infinite potential inside of all of us. Yes.
Absolutely. But what we don't do is, because of our childhood and how we were raised, and don't talk back, young man. Don't do this. Don't step out of line. Do all the things. And we're not taught that we are exceptional just the way we are.
But
And
you managed to get there anyway, didn't you?
I did. I
Yes,
did.
you did.
And and I got to give him props again. I had a little league coach he became my mentor for a
Wow.
period of time, and when I was like 9 to 12, and he
Wow.
was very, very positive and very interested
Wow.
in me as a human being, not just a ball player.
Wow.
And he's my angel, because
That's it.
2 years after I aged out of little league, obviously he was still coaching, and he was a window washer by trade.
Wow.
And 2 years later, I read in the paper that he was washing the window of a fifth story
Wow.
building, and the window popped out. He fell
Wow.
to his death.
Wow. 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 You know, so I see he was yeah, when I can barely speak after that. That was really something. That's what we tell the people. That's what we were telling people in the Big Brother Big Sister program. You have no idea what seeds you're planting, and you might not see the effects right away. So you could see what he planted in you and now how you're helping so many people from the encouragement that he gave you during those really tender years. Wow. Excuse me. That was amazing.
It
Wow.
it absolutely, it absolutely changed my life,
Yes. Because he
because
cared. Because he cared about you and he saw your potential as a person. Wow. Wow. That's all it takes. One person, it makes such a difference. Yes.
that's why, to me, he came and was my angel,
Yes.
and he passed away shortly thereafter. But
Wow.
he was everything that, and the interesting thing was, Brock, I got to tell you, he was not an educated man.
Right.
He was an immigrant from Scotland, hence the name Scotty Reed.
Wow.
That wasn't actually his first name. I never knew his first name, because
Wow.
everybody called him Scotty.
Wow.
And so he was a window washer by trade, and had a modest house, had a wife. He had kids, who I never knew. But he had this burning desire to help children, to
Yes.
help young men become better.
Yep.
And he was a remarkable individual. And so he taught me kindness, and he taught
Yes.
me, that he also taught me humility, because I was one of the better players on the team. And he
Wow.
also said, your job as being one of the better players is to help the younger kids, and to
Wow.
help them. And so he was, and we all need a mentor like that. I
Yeah.
was just really fortunate to have someone in my life, and I've had several, in my life, that have really helped me get to be able to do this.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I'd like to think I do it okay.
Yes, you do it great. You bring out the best in people, just like, Scotty did. Is that it?
Yep.
Scotty? Yeah, that's phenomenal. And like you were saying, you don't need education. We need wisdom, simple wisdom. And this is simple wisdom what you're spreading. I went to Harvard because I was looking for wisdom. I didn't find that there, but I did find it on my spiritual search for the wisdom that was missing. That's that's what I'm devoted now to spreading too. Because I've heard that we're drowning in information, but we're still starving for wisdom. Yeah.
That's there's a bumper sticker right there. That or a T-shirt that should be one of both, because you're right. We've got. You want to find out anything in the world, you can go and you can look in your little computer. Where is it? There we go. Your little
Hmm.
computer, and you can find out anything in the world except how to respond appropriately when somebody has something negative to say to you,
Yeah.
or that you're feeling down about yourself, and how to get through those things. Which is why I think we all need coaches and we all need people, and but more importantly than just a coach, we need somebody to support us. And I just love the fact that your children have got this. When did they come to you? Did they say, "Hey, mom, we want to do a newsletter for you"?
Well, what happened is in the newest book I wrote, when I wrote the manuscript, Let's Stay Healthy. This was during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, and people really wanted to know how to stay healthy and how to keep their children healthy and explain to children why it's so important to strengthen our immune systems. If we take care of our immune systems can take care of us, because we saw those were the people that suffered the most during the pandemic, those that did not have strong immune systems. So basically, they told me, please don't send this manuscript to a publisher. They said, we want to become a publishing company now. We want to publish your books from now on. So that's what they're doing. They have taken over. I'm no longer sending my books out to publishers, and they are publishing my books. And that's why they're sending out the newsletter and everything that they're doing. Amazing creative stuff. They're both, my youngest son and his wife are both super creative people too. They're teachers, and they love to share. Yeah.
You must be very proud.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. That's what I say. I'm really, really grateful. Yeah. Yeah.
That is so cool. How many kids do you have?
Six children, and they're all parents, of a bunch of children. Yes, each of them.
So don't you have like 35 grandchildren or something like that?
Well, well, I might right now. My no, my daughter is expecting the 35th child, so we'll see. Maybe you know something I don't know yet. I had 34 until we started this conversation, but she's expecting a baby, so I'm working on 35. Yeah, God will, hopefully.
And so
God
when you
willing.
have Christmas, that must just be an extraordinary experience.
Well, Hanukkah,
Oh, Hanukkah. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, my
Yeah.
Christian roots are showing. I'm sorry about
Yes,
that.
yes, yes. Yeah, we rarely all get together, but we're grateful that online we can connect by Zoom and things like that. It's hard to get everybody together because my youngest daughter's in Israel, my son is in Phoenix, another son is in Houston, Texas. Then there's Maryland and New Jersey, so we're all spread out. Yeah.
It must feel very. You must be very grateful for the fact that you guided them well. They grew up straight and true, and they're all have become parents and are good contributors to society.
Yeah,
That must.
that's it. So much gratitude. It's more gratitude than I ever imagined having in life. Yes.
And
Yeah.
and imagine you having 6 kids and 36 grandchildren, and you're only 32 years of age yourself.
Isn't
I don't
that
know how you
amazing?
did all that.
I
Yeah.
know, I know.
So that is phenomenal. And so congratulations, and I really. By the way, since they've begun to publish your books, have they gotten into it? Have the sales changed in any way?
I mean, it's hard to know. I don't even follow these kind of things. I'm so not interested in money, which is like why I'm doing this because authors really don't make the money like the publishing companies make the money. So this is all not interesting to me. How many books? I know that some of my books, well, there are books that have sold over 100,000 copies, and that's really good. The safety books, they're in like so many homes protecting children from abuse. And I know that that has saved a lot of lives. So I'm really, really grateful. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you ever think sometimes that the fact of the matter is that you're saving people's lives and you'll never meet them?
Yeah, I
And
love that. I love that. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, I mean, you're doing that too. We have no idea. I this reminds me of a story. Okay. So there's a man on a roof. He's about to jump, and the lady across the way, she sees him and she says, "Don't jump. I am sure your life is filled with a ton of pain. I'm sure you have so many problems. But what if, on top of all your problems, what if you had been blind your whole life and now you could finally see the world? Would you still jump?" And he says, "No, of course not. I want to see. I'd want to see." And she says to him, "Well, you have been blind. You have been blind. Open your eyes. There are so many blessings in your life right now. Despite all the problems and the pain you're going through, there are still so many blessings. Open your eyes and see them." I have no idea why I started telling this story, but this is it. This is it. Everybody, no matter how sad they are breathing. They have body parts that are amazingly working. There are many illnesses they don't have that they're not suffering with. They have so much to be grateful for. We all do, every one of us, at every moment, an infinite amount of things.
I want to thank you, Bracha Goetz, for coming here. She's the author of 41 and a half children's books, and she's the mother of six and the grandmother of shortly to be 35. And it could
God
happen any
willing.
moment.
God willing.
And did you have another book in the works yet?
Yeah, we do. We do have a book in the works. Yeah, how'd you know, right? Yeah,
Well, in your case, just give you 20 minutes and you'll come up with
right.
another book.
Hopefully. I tell people that it takes 20 years and 20 minutes to write a book. People walk around for 20 years with an idea in their head. It just takes 20 minutes. Jot it down. Write it down really fast, and that's it. That's the main thing to do. Get it out of your head into the world. Yeah.
And you have given me the not hope is the wrong word. You've given me the ambition to put authentic grit out into because I honestly believe that it can help people.
Woohoo! Yippee! Here it comes.
You are phenomenal, young lady. Will you come back and talk to me often?
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. I love it. Great talking to you. And let's see what happens with authentic grit when I come back.
Absolutely. And by the way, these hours that I spend with you, they go so fast. It's like we've had the best time. We haven't even touched the surface yet.
Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing.
And thank you for what you're doing, because it's really, in this day and age, it's really important that kids have got a resource that they can understand, that is designed for them,
Yeah.
so that they can protect themselves from
Yep.
predators and from disease and
Yep.
from all bullies,
Yep.
which is really prevalent right now, and
Yep.
all of that stuff. So
Yep.
congratulations. The work you're doing is nothing short of phenomenal.
Thank you so much. Same right back at you. Thank you.
And Brocky gets bookshop, right?
Oh, right. Goetz, it's just called GoetzBookshop.com because their name is also Goetz. Their last name is Goetz because it's my youngest son. So it's GoetzBookshop.com. Yep.
And you can sign up for the newsletter and get that. And I just got my first one. It was a fabulous read. They did a great job with it.
Oh, thank you.
And it's really cool. And I really appreciate having you here because you are the epitome of what we can all do and what we can all be, I think.
Thank you so much. Very grateful. Thank you.
And not to say that I'm sure that there's, real quick story before I go. Do you know who Neil Donald Walsh is?
No.
Neil Donald Walsh is a spiritual author. He wrote Conversations with God. And I heard him say just the other day, because he's written like 15 or 20 books, but he's a human. He's been married several times. And as a matter of fact, he said in an interview the other day, he said, one of my children came to me and they said, Dad, maybe you should read one of the books you've written. Because we're all human. And he said, well, maybe I should. So because but you are striving every day to live your life with gratitude and to help people, and that's I can't think of a better. I can't. And the money doesn't matter to you. It's not about that. It's about taking care of people.
Thank God. Yeah. Because who we have a saying, who is rich? Those who are happy with what they have. Yeah.
And in closing, I just have to tell you that I've been doing a lot of interviews with people that have traveled the world, and what they will tell me, and they do this all the time, they'll say, I do not know why people in the United States are so unhappy, because I can go to a place that they've got nothing. They've got maybe a hut, and maybe they got water within a mile,
Right.
But they're happy.
Right.
They're happy with their lives. They're happy with what they've got.
Right.
And they've got nothing by our standards.
Yes.
There's something we're missing. And I think that we need to find it.
Gratitude.
With your help, we will find it. and I thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So if you wait right there, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Hey, thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of PositiveTalkRadio.net. Please visit our website, oddly named PositiveTalkRadio.net, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to one another because each other's all we got.